Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new paper crafting video. Today I am sharing the card I made for Craft Roulette, episode 281. Craft Roulette is a paper crafting challenge game show with an amazing paper crafting community. You should check it out. It's Friday nights, Craft Roulette on YouTube. These are the cute products I'm going to be using today from Dare to be Artsy. I recently went to Paperganza, the very first Craft Roulette Live event. It was so much fun. While I was in Kansas City, I got to go to the Dare to be Artsy store and got these fun products. I love all things gingerbread, so this is kind of my gingerbread Christmas episode, and I am going to use them for my project today. So let's talk about the parameters, because in Craft Roulette, they spin a wheel, they pick parameters, and the guest and Mary make a card on those parameters, and then you get to play along, which is what I did. So this one needed to be a 4x6 card. There needed to be colors used that you could find on the coffee aisle. You needed an element from a tree. Yeah. And then you needed to go outside the line. So my element from a tree is going to be the wooden spoon. Also, I'm going to have the colors inspired by this paper because I feel like it's very coffee aisle inspired. Okay, now let's talk about the 4x6 card. It is a 6-inch by 8-inch piece of paper that I scored at 4 inches. I wanted to use this paper right here so that one of the gingerbread men was in the bottom corner, and I'm going to cut it out because the dies from Dare to be Artsy also cut out the images in the paper. They're the same size. And at the Dare to be Artsy store, I was able to buy multiple sheets of the one paper that I wanted instead of a paper pack, which I loved. So I'm going to use the die to cut a little window opening because my personal challenge or like parameter for myself when making a Craft Roulette card is to add a shaker. I love shaker cards. Be sure to check out my Facebook group, Shaker Card Addicts, if you have not. And you can see lots of shaker card inspiration and even share your shaker cards there as well. All right, so I'm covering the opening with a window sheet, and that's gonna, create the very first step of the shaker card. You gotta have the window sheet. Although I recently did a video of making a shaker card without a window sheet. I used some specialty paper. If you haven't seen that, I will link it at the end of this video. I used some paper from my paper insider box. It's very cool. Next, we need to surround this window with some foam adhesive. That's going to give it the lift for the shaker bits, which I'm using from the Trinity stamp shop. I have these clay gingerbread men. There's 2 different sizes in there. I eventually picked out some of the larger ones and used mostly small. And then I'm also going to use some shaker pop beads. These are tiny little beads from the Trinity stamp shop, and they are chocolate brown. They're like so perfect for coffee colors. And I just feel like gingerbread and coffee colors can be quite similar. So I thought it was a good option for this card. So I'll put some of those in. These little shaker pop beads also help things to move around really good inside your card, and they have a fun sound. Gotta love that. Okay, so then I'm backing this with a piece of specialty paper that has embossed polka dots on it. So when the shaker bits move around, there's a little something of visual interest behind the shaker. So there's my little shaker. It's looking pretty cute. Love it. And then for my 4x6 card, I actually cut 1 inch off of the front panel of this card just to have, I don't know, something a little bit different. The finished card is still 4x6, but I've got this fun visual interest there. And then for that flap, I'm going to add a little bit of scallop from the Emergency Card Essentials die set number 1, also from Trinity Stamps, designed by my friend Sarah of Sassy's LLC, and I love these die sets. There's actually 3 different die sets that are the Emergency Card Essentials, so got to love that. They have just elements you can use time and time again for your cards, like scallops, which I happen to love. So once the scallop was in place, I added my 3x6 panel back to the card, and then I wanted another pattern paper on that flap. So I chose this plaid pattern. I also got this when I was there at the Dare to be Artsy store. Love this plaid, so I was able to get several sheets of it. I'm pretty sure they sell individual sheets in some of their papers even online, so I will link their shop for you below. Okay, I realized when I got the scallop out that there's little faces in this die set. So I die cut a piece of white paper that I backed with rip and stick sheets to turn the paper into a sticker, and then I added a little face. Now the face had a teeny tiny nose. In the end, I was like, I'm not in love with the nose, so I took it off. It's kind of a wonky little face for this, but this is what it made me think of. Sometimes when I'm frosting gingerbread cookies, because I make them every year, the faces can be a little bit scary. They can be a little bit crazy. So I left it because it reminded me of that. All right, so next in the Emergency Card Essentials die set number 2, there's a swirly piece that is like my literal favorite from all of the Emergency Card Essential dies. It's so Christmassy, it's so whimsical, it's so candy cookie-like. I love everything about it. So I had to add it to the inside of my card, and because this card is 6 inches long, I had to cut it twice, just like I did with the scallops, and I just lined them up, and like you really cannot tell. All right, that little gingerbread man that I cut out from the paper to make the window for my shaker, he's going on the inside because I like to have cute things on the inside of my cards a lot of the time as well. All right, so then here comes the wooden spoon. Now I know the wooden spoon is in the background paper, but I also wanted to really emphasize that because it is my element from a tree. By the way, I have a second element from a tree, which was my original idea. But in the Craft Roulette episode 281 that I watched, they mentioned a wooden spoon could be the thing from a tree because it's made of wood. And Mary happens to have like a fake microphone that is a wooden spoon, so I had to do it. It's part of the show. It's part of the culture of Craft Roulette. So if you feel like you have no crafty friends in your area, you've got to watch Craft Roulette. You will instantly have hundreds of crafty friends who are crazy about paper, just like you. Okay, so I attached the wooden spoon to the hand of my shaker gingerbread man, and now I'm going to add a sentiment on the inside, and this is where I'm adding my original idea for something from a tree. This is just a dash of cheer. By the way, I'm stamping it with my favorite black ink, which is the Dare to Be Artsy Totally Black. It's a hybrid ink. You can like do everything with this ink. Linking it for you below. Okay, so this is cinnamon. It's going to be like sprinkling down from my spoon because cinnamon comes from the bark of a tree. So I've got a little dash of cinnamon on the inside of my card. I had an extra piece of the plaid paper because I cut a 1-inch strip from a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock, which when cut in half gave me 2 1-inch strips. So it really finished off the look on the inside. And now it's time for the sentiment. This is the Simply Sentimental Sweet stamp set and die set from Trinity Stamp. It's from their latest release. I love all their Simply Sentimentals because there's lots of different fonts for the main word from that set. So I picked this one. It's nice and bold, perfect for embossing, which, by the way, was the very first thing that caught my eye about making my own cards, 30 years ago. So I love embossing still to this day. Like melting the powder is just magical. And you have this like shiny raised up image and white embossing on colored paper. Love, it's my favorite. So I did that bold word sweet, and then I used the shadow layer die to cut it out. Now I say shadow layer because you can see there on the left, you can die cut out these letters as well. You don't have to stamp it. You can die cut them, layer it on the shadow layer, but the shadow layer also cuts out the stamped word. It's so genius. I can't get over it. All right, now in this stamp set, there are sub-sentiments to build your sentiment. So I stamped have a, and then it's going to say sweet, and then I'm going to pull in the word Christmas because I'm making a gingerbread card. And I love gingerbread, all things. I have a bunch of gingerbread videos on my channel, so if you haven't seen them, do I have a playlist? I think I have a gingerbread Christmas playlist. I did a whole series last year, right before Christmas. I made this gingerbread house purse. It's to die for. It definitely is one of my most favorite things I've ever made. So cute. All right, so back to the card. I am stamping out Christmas from this stamp and die set that I'm using, the Sweet Christmas. I don't remember the name of it. But I'm going to partially die cut it. And you see the Emergency Card Essentials die set there? It has these strip dies, which you could use for a lot of things, but I like using it for die cutting out sentiments that you maybe don't have a die for. All right, now it's time to work on that little flap. It just felt disconnected from my card. So I'm going to bring in this shimmery green paper, also from my Paper Insider box. Love this. It's like a subscription you can get. Then they send you like curated specialty papers that are like so good. So I'm going to use that, just a little 1/4 of an inch strip, and it makes me happy. It really like gives that scalloped red piece like a place to set. It's so good. Okay, so I thought that was going to be enough, so I'm moving back to the front of my card. I wanted to add a stamped gingerbread man because he's so cute. It has a winking eye. So let's color this up. I'm using my brand new Olo markers. I am new to these, but I am having so much fun with them. One tip that I will share with you is I have been using the Olo paper, stamping my images on their paper and using that, and I've been having such great results with that because this ink is very juicy and a lot of ink comes out, so you don't need to go over it a lot of times to get a blend. I really love that, and this paper is ideal for those conditions. So you got to check out this paper if you are using Olos. I think it is a game changer. So, all right, we're using some red markers for his hat and his shorts. I'm going to leave the scarf and do that in green. I'm going to leave the hat band, the pom-pom, and the buttons in white. So we've got the, red, white, and green Christmas vibes going on this. I think adding in that pattern paper that is plaid and this really, amps up the Christmas vibe of this card, because I think that paper is very subtle Christmas, which I kind of like. It's kind of fun. Also, I'm adding some white gel pen highlights because I like to do that with my stamped images. It really brings them to life. So this is going to set him apart from the background paper a little bit. Bringing out the coordinating die. Now, the dies in this set are tight. There's not very much white space around this. So I found it like a little bit harder to die cut with. I had some areas that I was closer to the image than the others, but once I put this down on the pattern paper, you really couldn't tell. All right, let's bring in some glitter. This is the Diamond Dust, I believe, Stickles. I'm adding that to the hat, what did I call that? Pom-pom? The band of the hat, the buttons, and then the face of my shaker gingerbread man, which I'm still not sure about that face. It looks crazy. Okay, I had the corner rounder out on my desk from a previous project. I made a refrigerator card. It's so cute. It's on the Trinity Stamps channel. So go over to Trinity Stamps, check out their YouTube channel if you haven't, and see my refrigerator card. It's really fun. And then I decided it kind of felt like a recipe file. Like this would be a little file folder that you would tuck recipe cards in. So I'm going to make this little tab on the edge, and I really feel like this is a thing that brings that 1-inch border that I did off to the side. It makes it more grounded. It makes it more part of the card. So I stamped baking. It's bold letters that you can color in. I stamped that, fussy cut it out, and then I'm going to stick this right on the edge there. I made sure that my little brown tab is the right size where it can butt right up against that green strip. And then my gingerbread embellishments, they spilled. The gingerbread men, they're always trying to get away. So I assumed that meant I needed to use more on my card, and so I did. I put one by baking, and then I put the tiny ones on every cross section. Wherever the red lines crossed and made an X, I put one there. They're really thin, the tiny ones, so I felt like it was totally fine to put them on the inside of the card. So there is my Craft Roulette episode 281 submission, and I did a little shaker because at Paper Ganza, Mary put me on the spot and said, "Are you going to turn this card into a shaker?" And I was like, yes. And now and forevermore, that is my personal parameter for my Craft Roulette cards, is to add a shaker. So there it is. And guess what? Last week, I did not have time to make a video for my card. So I thought I would share my episode 280 card with you here. So here's a little bonus. There's a shaker on it, you can see. But the parameters were hometown colors, glass or cup or glasses, a thinking of you card, and you had to doodle on it. So there's my thinking of you, which is a little composition book I made that pulls out of the top of the backpack. I downloaded the paper from Etsy, turned it into this little composition book that says thinking of you. The ruler has doodled lines on it that I hand drew. So that's my doodle. And my hometown colors are blue and orange for the Boise State Broncos. That's my team. I went to school there. It's our local football team. We're very proud of our blue and orange and our colors and our team. So that was my card from last week, and it was so much fun. I had a friend over. We had a watch party. We watched Craft Roulette, made our cards. I loved it. Thank you, Georgie, for coming over if you're watching. And check out Craft Roulette on YouTube. Craft Roulette every Friday night. 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I think it's more like 5 o'clock. They have a slideshow of everybody's cards, so that's really fun to watch. So thank you for stopping by and checking out my channel. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe because I share paper crafting projects all the time. I'll see you very soon on the next one. Happy stamping. Bye.